uncles were fighters. My dad was a very good boxer, and I just carried on the tradition really. I'll be honest, I had a natural talent for it. I was quite gifted at it from a young age. I'll be honest, when I first went to a boxing gym, there wasn't really a lot of Indians in the gym. So for me, it was a bit daunting to think that I'm the only Okna in the gym. It was expected of me to turn professional. So then I knew that, okay, I'm going to be a ticket seller. I've got an exciting style. Needed half of the fighters I thought dropped. And then obviously they told Naz about me. Naz was really interesting because I've never seen an Indian kid that people talk about like this. I always represent my people the best I can because I always saw my people as warriors, and I see myself as a warrior, and I represent that as much as I can. I said, Dad, who's the best Indian boxer that ever lived? Dad goes, I don't even know an Indian boxer. I've just signed over with Dean Whyte, and we're working on something pretty big.
Welcome back to the KultureKast podcast. My guest today is a professional super-welterweight boxer from Berkshire. Welcome, Tony Bange. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, guys.
Good. The way I like to start each and every podcast is basically taking a trip down memory lane. So tell me a bit about your upbringing, your cultural background, and basically what baby Tony was like.
Growing up, really close family. We come from a loving family. Very traditional family. Obviously we're Punjabi. So yeah, we had a very close family growing up. My uncles were fighters. My dad was a very good boxer, and I just carried on the tradition really.
Right, so you come from like a bit of a fighting family. So
Yeah.
did they? What level did they fight at? Was it just like amateur or?
My father, he did more amateur boxing and he done judo. He's a bronze medalist in judo. I've got MMA fighters in my family doing very well. I've got a lot of kickboxers in the family doing very well. So yeah, I've just come from a fighting background really.
Don't mess with your family then.
No, we're humble people, man. We're not really troublemaking people. But yeah, there's a lot of good fighters in the family.
So what made you want to? Was it just very much that it was you got put in at an early age because obviously your dad, your uncles already knew the benefits that combat sports would have. So did they just push you into boxing to instill that discipline?
I'll be honest, I had a natural talent for it. I was quite gifted at it from a young age. Mm-hmm. And as I got on, I just got better and better at it, and it seemed like it's worth him trying to go down the professional route. He was very good.
What age did you start then?
I actually was in the gym at like 12, 13.
Right.
But my father was training me from an early age, and I took it serious towards like 16, 17, where I was in the gym all the time, constantly in the gym. And I just started fighting as a senior. I never fought as a junior.
Okay.
And just kept the progression on from there.
It is quite cool because obviously, as we were saying before, like you don't really see that many British Indians in the ring. I think there is a few more coming out now, yourself included. I've had Inder Bassi on the podcast before as well, and a kid called Gully from Wolverhampton who's an amateur boxer. So it is something that is starting to happen.
I've heard of quite a few of the boys coming through. It's good. Be really proud of themselves, man. I'll be honest, when I first went to a boxing gym, there wasn't really a lot of Indians in the gym. So for me, it was a bit daunting to think that I'm the only Okna in the gym. And you do feel like you're singled out and everyone's against you. But then the fighter in you's got to come out. So, I don't care. I've got to fight. I'm here to fight.
100%.
So it does, yeah. It does knock your confidence a little bit when you first go in the ring. But, if you want to be a fighter, you're going to have to deal with this.
Yeah, well, I guess that's just like a small battle compared to the one that's in the ring. Do you know what I mean? It's like a little side story going on. But does that like impact you? Obviously, when you were a kid as well, when you were a lot younger, 12, 13, did you feel that? Do you feel that it like might have? I don't want to say hindered your progression because obviously you turned into a professional, but did it make it feel a bit more uncomfortable than it might have otherwise been?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but then when people realized how good I was, it was like they wanted me there.
Mm-hmm.
Was when I saw a lot of the other Indian boys go in the gym, and it was like they didn't really want them there. And because I was quite talented, it was like they all wanted me. Every gym I went to sort of open their arms to me and just wanted to take me in. But I saw with the other boys that they sort of got a bit neglected and pushed to the side. And it was a bit, for me, like I was thinking, if I wasn't as like decent as I was, maybe I would have been treated like that.
Yeah.
You know, that did make me feel a bit like this is a bit twitchy, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So the talent shone through. I think that's the good thing about boxing, though, is like, is that sort of camaraderie, like in a gym space. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're in there, you're all doing the hard work, so that respect, regardless of where your background is, I think that respect shines through.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of got to earn your respect in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not given to you. Like no matter where you're from, what ethnicity it's not given to you. You have to really earn it.
100%. Before obviously you said there that like obviously you come from like a fighting family. I was actually gonna ask what the sort of community sort of aspect towards it would have been like if there was any sort of gossip, let's say. Like obviously we know from the Upper community can be very gossipy, do you know what I mean? But did you feel any of that side? Or was it because you're from a fighting family, it was just sort of he's gonna follow in his father's footsteps?
Well, from like the area and stuff, my family were really well known. So when people had heard that I was turning professional, it's like everybody wanted to know, because I was sort of from young, I was like talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like it was expected of me to turn professional, and then when it happened, and we'll go on to it in a bit. But then when I got like sort of exploited onto the scene by someone, then it really just boom.
Yeah, 100%. But and you've obviously alluded to it there, but we will talk about that particular someone a bit later on. When you were going into amateur boxing, you didn't have that many fights, did you? So roughly how many did you have?
I had 14 amateurs, and I lost 2.
Why did you make the jump so quickly to professional?
Head guards. I didn't want to fight a head guard.
Right. Okay.
So I went straight into unlicensed boxing, and I actually got TV exposure on unlicensed boxing. And but before I knew it, I was a really big ticket seller. I was selling 200 to 300 tickets like on unlicensed fights, and I was practically selling out the ringside myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I knew that okay, I'm gonna be a ticket seller. I've got an exciting style. So I said I'll do the unlicensed, see how I get on. Then obviously got discovered, and things went on to bigger things.
100%. Is that something that suits your style more as professional boxing? What is like your style like for anybody who's listening who might not know?
I'll be honest, my record would be deceiving. You wouldn't assume I'm the style of fighter I am if you looked at my record.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually look into the Wikipedia of the fights and see what happened during the fight, nearly half of the fighters I fought have dropped. But I don't finish them because they are journeymen and they have a lot of experience. And although I know I could finish them, keeping them in the ring would benefit me.
Gain that experience from them.
Yeah, so at the minute, I think the more rounds I could get, the better, because my amateur experience was limited. So I don't really want to take a guy, although I know I can take him out of the ring. I haven't had a lot of rounds in the ring. I haven't had the advantage of having a long amateur career. So I keep him in the ring, but I'm 100% confident I could just toy with him and play with him, really.
That's like a really mature like approach to take it, because I feel like surely at the beginning of a career, like a boxer would feel pressure to blow people out of the water, because nowadays it is like people look at your record, people see how many knockouts you have, people want to see like a social media clip of you punching someone, a 1-punch knockout, and you walk away and things like this. So
if you go back to my unlicensed career, you'll see like majority of the guys that I knocked out. So I didn't know how to stop guys and get them out of the ring. But obviously, when you've got journeymen who had 200-300 fights, who have fought all the other fighters on the circuit, it's worth keeping them in the ring, as long as they're not dangerous. But we'll do our research on the fighter and check that. My last opponent, I got head clash, so that was a bit of a mess up on a fight. I should have took him out, but you live and you learn. Head clash, you can't really do much about it. But yeah.
The sort of pressure that I was saying before, like, do you feel that pressure? Like, obviously, you're not going. You haven't basically. You've said that you've knocked people down and not finished them off. But do you ever feel pressure that maybe I should because it might look better for like your profile? Do you ever have that pressure on your shoulders or not?
Well, wouldn't it look better if you stopped the first fighter you stopped was actually a very rated fighter, and you took him out quick? Would that not look better?
100%. I agree with you. I agree with you. But I feel like nowadays it is very social media sort of everything's like headlines and things.
Yeah. I'll be honest, being around the people I was around, I learned that there is a lot of hype, there is a lot of talk, and things are built up to be. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to know within yourself what you're capable of doing and what you're doing.
100%. The fight that you're alluding to, so your eighth fight, sorry. So you're 7-1 at the moment, and the last fight was a loss, but that was pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah, well, first round we got a head clash so early in the fight, and it just kept opening up. It was messing up my vision. I couldn't see nothing. Although I tried to keep the fight, I tried to fight on. I didn't want them to stop the fight. I just couldn't find the reach to do anything. It just vision was blurred. I didn't really know. I'd never been in a situation where I'd been cut,
Mm-hmm.
and I pretty much had to fight blind. I've never been in that situation before. I mean, I like to think I handled it well. That I didn't panic. I didn't get worried, and a lot of fighters probably would have got stopped. But I just kept composed, stuck to my game plan. Okay, I didn't get the win, but I finished the fight, and I still kept my reputation as a fighter.
100%. And I think it is valuable to have that experience. Like as I spoke to Inder Bassi in that podcast that we did was just after his last fight as well, and he broke his nose for the first time in the fight. So it also similarly to yourself was a head clash. Broke his nose. He couldn't see because it's like his eyes were glazed over, and he sort of came out afterwards and said like it's a valuable experience because now going forward, them things might have happened in the amateur career or might happen in training, but when it's in the actual fight, when it's in a professional fight, it's completely different. So to handle that experience,
I would have preferred it happening in training, but if nothing ever happened and then it happened on the night, you don't know what to do. But I think, considering I've never been in that situation, I think I handled it quite well.
Was that something? And again, I agree. Like you need them experiences to learn from them and move forward. Do you know what I mean? Like if it happens again, then you'll deal with it even better than you did this time. Hopefully.
I mean, truthfully, the team around me would never have put me in a fight if they wasn't 100% confident I was going to come out the winner. They just wouldn't risk a prospect doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But if accidents happen, there's not really much you can do about it. That's life. You just got to deal with it and move on.
And that is the beauty of sport in general, to be fair. Like you need that sort of, it can't always be predetermined, do you know what I mean? Otherwise it wouldn't be fun to watch.
Anything can happen. You don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, you can stick to what's more likely to happen. I mean, truthfully, going into that fight, pretty much people were confident it's a sure thing. Tony's gonna beat this guy. The whole training camp had been perfect. Everything had gone right. First minute of the fight, head clash.
Yeah.
And what can you do?
This was something that I asked Inder as well, and because of like Floyd Mayweather, for example, and this 50-0 record and maintaining that undefeated streak, do you feel like maybe some pressure's actually been lifted off you because now that O is gone, you can just concentrate on your fighting and it's just maybe a bit of pressure's been alleviated, or is that not came into your mind?
There was never any pressure from the start because it's the way I looked at boxing. I'll only ever go out there to do my best, and if I came out victorious, I came out victorious. If I didn't come out the better man on the night, then he's the better man on the night. But I'll make up for it the next fight.
It seems like you've sort of mentally dealt with this, like going forward.
Yeah, I kind of in a way brainwashed myself to not believe in pressure. that I am only capable of doing what I'm doing, and I would always give a great performance. I will always fight my best. I always represent my people the best I can, because I always saw my people as warriors, and I see myself as a warrior, and I represent that as much as I can. And I won't ever give up in a fight. I'll fight till I can't fight no more.
Yeah, 100%. I think you said it best there as well. And so you're training now for a comeback, and when is that comeback roughly going to happen?
I was going to make an announcement, but I've just signed up. I don't know if you know Dean Whyte, Dylan's white brother.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've just signed over with Dean, and we're working on something pretty big. So yeah, as once things are finalized, I'll make an announcement and let everybody know what's going on then.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
When you turned pro, obviously that big name that we were alluding to before was Prince Naseem. Nas is obviously like a massive name in boxing in general. How did like your relationship with him come to fruition? How was that? Like, how did you get to know each other?
Like I said, when I first started my name in the area, I mean, I was pretty much the talk of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then friends of my father knew Nas, and then obviously they told Nas about me. Nas was really interesting because I've never seen an Indian kid that people talk about like this.
Yeah.
And he invited us. A friend of my father's actually invited them both to his house, and we met Nas in the house, and my father and Nas really clicked. And he said to my father, I said, bring Tony down to my house. I want to see something. And he actually brought a guy called Nettles Nasser down from America to pad me off. And when I done pads with Nettles, bearing in mind this guy's took Omar Shaker on the pads, Kabari Sanchez, Miguel Cotto, Terence Crawford, Henry Crawford. They took Henry Crawford to 11-0. And from the first punch I threw on the pad, he said, I think something Arabic. He said, Mashallah, because I never felt left hook like that.
Yeah. Smashed it.
Yeah, he stopped and looked at Naz, and he goes, Naz, I've never felt a left hook like that. And then Naz goes, see, because he's got that money shot. And yeah, we worked on some things. When I first went with Naz, I had a similar style to Mike Tyson. And bearing in mind, this guy, Nettles, was part of Mike Tyson's camp when they first had Teddy Atlas and Kevin Rooney and the Catskill camp.
Right.
So yeah, worked with him for a few months, and he actually got me ready for my debut along with Naz's cousin Anas Sowida.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got me ready for my debut.
Are you like you mentioned there obviously you signed with Dillian Whyte's brother, so does that mean that are you no longer with Nas as well, or are you still like, does he still help out when needed?
Yeah, well, I'm still very close with Nas, but Nas has got a lot of things going on, like with the stuff that he does. He's always out in Dubai, and he does his thing, so it's hard to get the time with him.
Yeah.
So it's like I just let him, Nas crack on. If I need you, I'll call you. And he's like, yeah, love, man. Whenever you need me, give me a shout.
He does seem to be everywhere. You see him on all the boxing shows, and he's got really good.
Yeah, he gets about, man.
Yeah, I think the most famous one, I think, in recent times, within the past couple of years, was when he told Eubank to retire after that George Groves thing, which was hilarious. But he was a legend back in the day.
Eubank come back and won a world title straight after.
Yeah, no, that's the one. So when you're working that closely, obviously with a legend, probably one of the most well-known British boxers, and the thing is, I think he could probably sympathize and empathize with you a bit more because he is British Pakistani, similar to obviously ourselves as British South Asians in general. So did you feel like when you were talking about going to the gym beforehand and you were the brown kid, do you feel like that was sort of a lot easier with Nas because he got you a bit?
Yeah. To be honest, he was honest with me and said he used to get the same stuff. But what drove him is that he thought that if I can get really good at this and get all my people behind me, I could be amazing. And that's what he saw with me. Because if me, or three-time or four-time, five-time champion, can see you and say that I know this kid's gonna do something special in the sport, how can your own people not see it?
Mm-hmm. Have you found like wider community support?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a lot of Asian support. Like my people, my community have been amazing to me. Like, I love them to bits, the way they treat me and the way they supported me. And then the British community, they've been amazing to me. Although I do represent the British Sikh community, the Indian community, I am British. British my home. I love Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've had really good support of everyone.
That is really good. I think that's the good thing about the like position we're in is that we are multicultural and we can
Yeah,
take from both cultures. Like the system, especially for boxing in the UK, in Britain, is really good. Like British boxing's booming. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, it's probably the
yeah,
epicenter of global boxing. But then you can also pull from the Indian side of we come from a very rich culture in that side of fighting as well, like kabaddi, gatka, all of these sort of things at
yeah,
the same time, right? And as you alluded before, like we have warriors' blood essentially.
yeah,
And it is really good to have the both sides. And obviously, like I've had this conversation with the previous boxers that we've had on the podcast as well. That it's I think it is really good, but I'm surprised that no one yet has reached the world title level. Like, and I think from your previous
I'll be honest with you. One of the boys recently did actually fight for a world title. He's an Indian.
who was that?
He was Prince Patel. He fought for the IBO world title. He fell short of it, but he did. Yeah,
Yeah, was that in that was in Africa, wasn't it? That fight.
yeah, yeah. He actually fought for the IBO world title. He fell short of it. So that's the closest thing to a world champion we've had. He's actually a good friend of mine. But there has been a few. Like we've had I think I can't remember the boys. We did have a featherweight British champion.
Okay.
Is that me? I can't remember his name. I'll have to Google him. But yeah, we have had some Indian fighters get close.
I think when we get the world champ though, I think that's going to be something different. Do you know what I mean? Because that's when I think there'll be
Yeah,
a lot more support exposure. Because I
yeah.
think we do want to support, we just don't know who to support. Like the people that are coming through. I don't
Yeah, I
know
mean,
if it's
we had Vijinda, but so like sadly lost his last fight. So and I think what had happened was he'd just been out the ring too long.
that I watched that fight as well, and
Yeah,
the ending to that fight specifically, and it did seem a bit weird, but yeah, maybe it was just ring rust. But you have on previous interviews basically stated that you want to become the first British Indian world champ, and is that still the goal?
not the first. I would just like to be one of the British Indians that achieved championship status. I mean, you can't look a lot of people. I want to be world champion. I want to do this. You got to take it. It's a ladder. You got
Hmm.
to step by step by step by step. And so, if you haven't even won a British title or international title, or you're, how can you look at being a world champion? You know, it's like miles away.
Yeah.
But in the back of your head, that is what you're dreaming of. That one day I could achieve that. But you have to be realistic and say, look, I've got to achieve step by step by step by step.
Hmm.
There's no point of looking. I'm just gonna blow up straight there. I mean, unless you're Lomachenko, it's like 300 amateur fighters that never lost, you know.
Well, even he lost his first fight as well, too, so I don't think it's easy as that either. But no,
Yeah,
I 100% get where you're coming from. Definitely like to take it step by step, and again, I think it goes back to what I said before, and it sounds like a very mature approach because
yeah. I mean,
sorry.
when I first turned over, um, I didn't really understand the game and how it worked. And as I've been in the game, I understand it a lot better and how it works now. So
Hmm.
it's matured my way of thinking.
You do hear in boxing there's like a lot of politics and go and things that are involved. Is that what you're talking about?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a business. It is a business.
Which is why like that's why I think like if we had like a bit more exposure and profile on some of the Indian fighters, like I think the up and up community in England wants to support these guys. But I've
The fighter, the up now fighter, who can get the Indian community behind him, he'll reach the top.
because that is what happened with Prince Naz, Amir Khan. Like they had that Pakistani community support them and it propelled them. And obviously you have to have the talent as well. You can't just rely on the crowd support.
What you have to think is our promoters gonna look at views and look how much of a population we got. If we can get them views on boxing, which promoter isn't gonna want to promote us? Which promoter isn't gonna want to put an opener fighter in that seriously big fights where arenas are getting filled, where TV channels are getting flooded? They're gonna want you, and it's the promoters that make the fights.
100%. That is it, and it seems like everywhere in the world now is flooding to India and China because they're such big markets. But boxing seems to be a bit behind on that side of things. But
I mean, I think now it is picking up, but you got to remember that with our people, we are peaceful people. So that is part of our culture, to be friendly, to be peaceful, to see two people hurting each other. I don't know how they take to that.
Yeah,
that is a bit of a conflict. But when you explain to them, so look, they're doing it out of sport. They're doing it to represent. They're fighting to represent their country. They're doing it out of honor. Then I think that would persuade people to watch more.
Yeah, true. I haven't thought of it on that side of things because I like when I think of the fighters, I'm thinking we come from that warrior bloodline. But you're very right in the fact that we also do come from a place of humility as well, as you were saying. So it's a fine balance, though, isn't it? You want to tap into both as you can.
That's why that's why everything I do, I try to represent my people in the best way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, smashed it. No, definitely. And as I say, like hopefully when going forward, I'm a fan of boxing and I've been watching it since I was a kid. Rocky movies had a huge impact. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, and then and obviously more recently I've been watching like AJ from his first fight to his world championships, and like I love boxing, but I just want to see more happening in it. I just want to see more happening smashing it.
Well, even me, I remember when I was younger, I said to my dad, Dad, who's the best Indian boxer that ever lived? Dad goes, I don't even know an Indian boxer.
That was it. I think there was a guy called Gaur Singh, and he faced Muhammad Ali, in Delhi, and it was in an arena packed full of like 50,000-60,000 people, and he was basically India's Olympic boxer, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I know the amateur pedigree in India is amazing from what I've heard. I've heard they've got really good amateurs.
Yeah, but I think that this was actually post Ali's proper retirement, and I think it actually went down as an exhibition match. But from what I remember, that was one that caught my eye when I was a kid, because I heard of this story, and yeah, there's still pictures if you Google them online and things of, and I'll send you it after this podcast of his medals and things, and it's really inspirational.
You think something that big, how we all not heard about it, that one of our own fighters actually fought probably one of the greatest boxers that ever lived. Not all of us have heard about it.
Exactly.
Just goes to show the exposure we get.
That's it. But I also think it goes back to your point before of like our culture doesn't really adopt fighting. Although like we do have like things like kabaddi as mentioned before, and we do come from a warrior bloodline. Like when it does come to especially Apane that are probably outside of India. So like for example us, I think the encouragement is always to get a stable office job instead of don't do this fighting crack, go get a 9 to 5 instead, because that's the sort of mentality. But I feel like now that could be shifting with the social media exposure that people are getting. Like even what was his name, Tal Singh in Meet the Khans, Amir Khan's TV show. There was a boxer in there as well, and he got a lot of support from the community when them episodes came out, and then obviously his social media following is growing. But when you see somebody in that sort of looks like you, in a different field like boxing, it does open the doors, which is credit to you for doing that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see an Indian boxer smashing it, doing bits, it allows that next Indian kid looking at you to go to the gym.
Well, obviously I'm a father now, and I've got a little boy, And when he grows older, I would like to see that his dad tried to achieve something. Hopefully, that I do achieve something amazing in the sport. Within myself, I believe I can. And if he sees him and it inspires him, and that hopefully I can be a great role model to him.
100%. And congratulations on becoming a dad.
Thank you.
No worries. What is that? What is that like? What's that transition been like?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've always been a family man, so yeah, it's lovely to have him running around the height. He watches me when I do my training.
Yeah.
And I hope that he grows up to be a good, honourable man.
Is he copying any of your moves yet?
Yeah, he does try to do a bit of boxing on the dad. I think he's an actor.
Do you ever get the comments from your dad saying that he reminds you of you?
All the time.
Yeah. That's cute. That's very cute. What weight category are you currently fighting at? Super welterweight.
Yes. This is the funny one, because if I weigh in on the day, then I weigh in at super welter. If I'm given 24-hour weigh-in, then I am actually a welterweight. If you look at the last time I had 24-hour weigh-in, I came in at welterweight.
Right. So you very comfortably make that weight then. It's you walking around with, really.
Yeah, no, I walk around very. You'd laugh if I told you how much I walk around.
Okay, we'll not mention it. Do you find it easy to cut?
Yeah. I think I'm. It's funny because I'm a big guy, but I can sort of drain very fast.
Right.
I can gain like 14 pounds overnight and lose 14 pounds within 4 days.
Right.
So yeah, I'm very good at. I think my body holds a lot of water weight, so yeah, I fluctuate a lot.
Yeah, trust me, I know the water weight problem. I got a lot of water weight down here, man. Too much water weight. Like with the water weight thing as well. Do you specifically just cut water, or do you have to do like a tailored sort of?
You have to. I've actually talked to my like strength conditioning coach about this. We need to hit a certain limit, like fat percentage, before we know that okay, this is as much water we can take out.
Because that thing's really interesting, as well as the water weight argument, because I think the more like sort of science and stuff comes out, it seems to be quite dangerous in the long term. Have you ever thought of like that side of things?
Yeah, it is. It is dangerous if you don't rehydrate properly. That is one of the reasons I don't make water weight on the day, because I do have to dehydrate to make it.
Yeah, I was speaking to this MMA fighter from New York, Harveer Singh, on like I think it was the second episode, and he was saying there's that's what causes increased concussions as well in MMA, is that they
around the brain. You're not got no cushion around the brain.
That's it, 100%. That's what he was saying as well. And when he was explaining like how the science works on that side of thing, it is very, very scary. Like you would think that they have started including like rehydration clauses and things like that into certain contracts now.
Yeah, that's silly, because now the fighter's made the weight. Now he's scared to drink and rehydrate. He's scared he's gonna go over. It's sort of gonna cause more injuries.
Do you not think it would just be easier to actually just fight?
As a fighter, you're not gonna think that, oh, okay, because we're not allowed to come up, we're not allowed to rehydrate this much weight. The guy's not gonna struggle to get down to the weight, but you're gonna get another fighter that's I don't care. You gotta remember, some guys are so hungry and determined. They don't care to get hurt.
And I think it's the thing that everybody wants that advantage. Because in my mind, as like the probably naive fan, I would just be thinking, just fight at your walking around weight. That's probably what you're going to be most fit at and things. But everyone wants that little edge, don't they?
This is how they would do it. You'd get a super lightweight, and maybe he's not getting no fights, and he needs exposure, he needs fights, and he needs a lot of money. So you would tell him, say, look, you're a super lightweight, I've got a welterweight. Do you want to jump up and fight him? And the guy, he's desperate for the money, he will say yes, but that guy isn't naturally a welterweight. That guy's actually a super middleweight. They told him drain down to welterweight. So drain that guy down, bump that guy down. When this guy hits that guy, what's going to happen? They're knocking his back out. These fighters that have a lot of knockouts on their record, that is how they do it. So you're knocking out a guy that's truthfully 6-7 weights smaller than you when you're hydrated, because he's bulked up to the weight. You struggle down to the weight. Obviously, you're knocking him out. You'll see the size difference on the weigh-in. And that is how it's done. If you look at my record, everyone I've fought has actually been heavier than me come down. So I've never fought a lighter guy come up.
I think we've seen that as well a couple of years back with Mikey Garcia, because he went up quite a few weight divisions, and you could see like his body composition, he just looked chubby at the weight. Yeah. And he just couldn't hang in there. And he's obviously like such a technically amazing fighter, but obviously that weight difference just made that much of a difference.
One of my friends used to train with him a lot, and he was telling me his footwork's amazing. Billy Dib is actually a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Started 3 rounds with Billy, and Billy's actually technically very good. And he's telling me that Mikey's footwork's amazing, because he's always on balance. He's always in a great position, because he knows how to sort of sway you into his punch. So he create an angle where he steps across and cuts you square up, and he's very good at it.
I feel like we are seeing like a sort of Mexican resurgence now as well. Like Mexico's got so many good fighters, but obviously like Canelo being the biggest in the sport, and that Lara beat Josh Warrington. There's a lot of good fighters coming out of Mexico, but at the same time, there's a lot of good fighters coming out of the UK as well.
I'll be honest, the fittest fighters in the world actually come from the UK, because we are conditioned so amazingly. If you look at guys like Ricky Hatton, they're just animals when it comes to work rate. Carl Froch just built the box. Chris Eubank Jr. is solid. Billy Joe Saunders, he just really fit to move, fast hands, got good footwork. These guys are built they're conditioned well. But if you look at the Americans, they're technically schooled so well, because they don't worry about the conditioning. It's just they're in the gym, repetition. That's all they want. They will repeat the same 1,000 times till they get it right. And the Mexicans, I think, culturally, they've got this thing where they want to be tough. So when you've got people all around you that are trying to prove that they're tougher than each other, naturally, the one of them is going to become the toughest.
Yeah.
He's going to want it naturally. So, yeah. The Mexicans known for having the tougher fighters. Americans known for having the more technically talented fighters. And Britain's known for having the fittest and best conditioned fighters.
And that's part of the culture here, isn't it? Like
India's going to be known for having them all.
yeah. We'll dissect all of them. Exactly. But to be fair, I think that could apply to Indians as well, because that British culture is not to be outworked. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You want to be tough and you want to be like rugged, and sort of have that endurance. And I feel like if anyone's going to talk about work ethic, you have to chuck India in that conversation.
What's 9 to 5? There's no such thing as 9 to 5.
Exactly.
You finish when you're done, innit? You finish when you finish.
That's the one. When you were speaking obviously about like the level, so you want to get to like one step at a time on the ladder as British, then international, and then obviously world. So like at the moment in the super welterweight in the UK, the division's quite hot, to be fair. There's a lot of good names. Like Cheeseman, Eggington, Fowler, Fitzgerald, all of them names are sort of that. You would even say they're fringe international level. Do you know what I mean? They're probably in between the UK and maybe European or international level.
Britain's got some of the best boxers in the world. So capturing the British title is a very difficult title to capture. But we'll see when the time comes. What's available and
is that your next goal though? So obviously on that ladder step, what is the next sort of milestone for you?
To be honest, I think something I've always wanted to do is go back home and fight
in India.
So, yeah, that's something I've really always. If you gave me the opportunity to fight for the British title, to go back to India and fight, I would choose to go back to India and fight. That would be like a childhood dream. But we'll see what opportunities come up. Obviously, I left it down to Dean. Dean said he's got some stuff planned for me, and niggas will be doing some serious work. So you just be ready, pretty much.
That would be very, very good if we had a fight in India again, like in Punjab as well would be so dope. Would you want to do it in your bend, or would you want to go to the shed and do it
I want to do it in Mumbai, man.
in Mumbai? What about Punjab?
If I do it in Punjab, I might have to come out on an elephant or something.
Mate, there's probably more elephants in Mumbai than there is in Punjab. All that Bollywood shit over there, fam. They'll have elephants lined up, all trained and ready to go.
If I went to the Punjab and someone hit me, I think, all right, we kicked over, they'll love me there.
With Dean Whyte as well, with obviously their connection to like Matchroom, is that something that is
again? He's working on something
there.
So
yeah.
I don't want to say too much because it's going to kill the attraction. Yeah, he's working on some stuff. So.
Okay, we're keeping a tight lip. Okay, I'm trying my hardest to get something out of you, but it's not working. Like it's not working.
I'll be honest. So I don't like to say anything till it's finalized, and then it's not good though.
Yeah.
He's working on some stuff, and I'll leave him to it.
100%. It is really good. Talking about Dean Whyte, his brother obviously Dillian is one of the best fighters in the world as well. Did you watch his last Povetkin fight?
What a way to make a statement!
Right,
brilliant. I messaged him straight away. I was like, "That's how you do it, man. That's how you come back." And yeah,
it would be interesting to see what his next fight is as well, because he, in my opinion, he's probably third or fourth best heavyweight in the world. You've got obviously Joshua Fury, and then
third, isn't he?
I think he's ranked third. I would put him personally third, and then probably Wilder or Ruiz afterwards. Yeah. And I think Ruiz is fighting this weekend against Ariola, and Wilder obviously still needs to make his comeback. If you could pick Whyte's next opponent, who would you want to see him fight?
I watched Dean on social media, and he's after all the smoke, man. He wants anyway. He wants more. So yeah, he's gunning for more, man.
He is.
I don't know who he's after, but yeah, I know he was cheeking Ruiz, so I don't know if he wants to go after Ruiz. But I know he cheeks with Wilder as well, so probably one of them two.
I heard maybe Trevor Bryan, because he wants a world title, and I think Trevor Bryan holds the WA regular or IBO title, I think maybe. And so I think he said that immediately after the Povetkin fight, but I think a few days afterwards, that's when he started going at Wilder and Ruiz. Personally, I'd like to see him face Wilder because he was already mandatory for that long, and he didn't get that shot, sort of thing. And he already said like how to beat Wilder. And then obviously when Tyson Fury did it, Tyson Fury got all the credit, and rightfully so, because he did execute it perfectly. But the heavyweight divisions honestly is just on fire at the moment. It's so sick.
Yeah. But it's funny, they're all in Britain, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's the other sick thing about it.
One of the best conditioned fighters are in Britain. Britain's got some of the best fighters.
100%. And at super welterweight, the top dog seems to be from BoxRec and Ring Magazine rankings and things seems to be Jamal Charlo. What do you make of him? Do you actually look at other fighters like very closely in your weight division and things?
No,
I
don't do that. I'll be honest, but for a fighter should just concentrate on himself and not worry what other people are doing.
See, this is the thing. Like, I've asked a few fighters now, as I've said on this podcast. I've had the fortune to speak to a few, and all of them say the same thing. They don't really look at too many other fighters.
Yeah, but it's like a business. Why would you look at what someone else's business is doing? You're concentrating on your own and make sure that's doing well.
Mm-hmm. So do you look at like historic fighters then instead of current ones? Do you look like back in the day?
Anybody knows me knows I'm probably the biggest Mike Tyson fan in the world.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was my boxing inspiration. I'm a massive Hector Camacho fan. I really like Sugar Ray Leonard. Also, I was a huge Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton was one of the guys that inspired me. Massive Nas fan. I've got like my favorites. Roy Jones. There's a lot of fighters out there that I really like to watch, and I do pick like certain things from them and try and add it to what I do.
So, as you've like obviously named like some of the best fighters in history and sort of picked out some of their positives, That's why I ask if fighters look at the people who are world champions now in their currently, because for me, if you're looking historically and trying to take some of the best bits of all these great fighters like Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard and things, would you not want to do that, like, for example, with Jamal Charlo as well, because he is the top dog at the moment, to like sort of dissect what is he doing good and what is he doing bad?
I mean, I've heard of him. I think I've seen little clips of him. But I'll be honest, I don't think that is my style of fighting. My style is more similar to Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
So I do watch a lot of Canelo. Obviously, I love watching Manny Pacquiao. So I try to add stuff of the fighters that excite me are the fighters that I like to take bits of and try to put into my own style, really.
Because I watched
although I'm a massive Gervonta Davis fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably one of the best young fighters out there at the minute. That style wouldn't really work for me. So although I'd watch it for the entertainment, but to study him and watch him, I don't think any of that style would benefit what I do.
Can you watch boxing for entertainment now, or are you?
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest, if it's someone I know fighting, I really hate watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I know what they're going through and I can read their expressions on their face.
Mm.
But if I know it's a friend of mine, I know he's gonna win. Like I know it's a sure, then I'll watch it.
Yeah. You don't want to be too emotionally tied. It is hard, obviously. I can't imagine, like, when I watch it, it's purely for entertainment. But if I knew someone who was in the ring, it would be very hard.
Because a lot of people can't read the facial expression, and being a fighter, you're a bit more diligent to what you're watching. So I can actually read that. I can read the guy's face and think what he's going through. I know what's going through his head. I can see if he's panicking. I can see if he's hurt. And it's like you're not there to like you want to shout out, oh, do this, do that. Just chill out, dude. Don't make the fight too hard. But you're not there to do it, are you? I mean, I've gone. One of my friends fought for the English title, Elliot Matthews, who's a good fighter, and I did actually go with him. And throughout the whole fight, I think I was the loudest person there.
Yeah. No, that's what you need, though.
He'd come out and hug me, and he had said, he goes, everything you told me. Did you say I did it? And I was like, I know you did
it. Smashed it. What I was gonna say before was I watched one or two of your fights on YouTube. Obviously, like, before starting today, and it does seem like when you were talking about like Canelo and things like that, like it does seem that you very much a counter puncher. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
So one of the fights that I did watch, that's like the style that you were adopting, but you had it was a weird one because you were counter punching, but from the center of the ring. Do you know what I mean? Like when normally you watch counter punches, they're normally like on the outside and they're waiting for the center. Whereas this was, you were like, it was interesting to watch and it was effective as well. That's the interesting part, is that normally it's the inside the center fighter, the person in the center of the ring is normally the aggressor, but you maintaining the center of the ring while allowing that person to just be on the outside, come in and then counter.
Well, it's I'll be honest, a lot of people that hold the center of the ring and do this and that, that's good for like a long fight. But you just want to be the dominant fighter. That is it. Basically, you want to be a bully in the ring.
Yeah.
So you just want the guy. You do the hard work. I'm not doing the hard work because I can hurt you whenever I want.
So it's like more of an assertion of dominance. Fair play.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a good indication to the judges as well of who's.
Yeah. But second you go in the center of the ring, the guy. If the guy tries to fight you back, and you slip counter, straight away it's knocked his confidence because he's like, I tried to take the centre back and I've got hit hard for it. Now it's put him on the defensive where he doesn't want to work so much. So now all you have to do is just keep chipping away gently until he does try to make a move, but you stay ready to just counter again.
Yeah, and obviously, like, if you hit him with a good shot, it's in the ropes.
Unless you've got a fighter with a long reach, that won't work. But this is going into like technical and tactical stuff. But I mean, as a fighter with a long reach, there's a lot of ways to beat a fighter with a long reach, and majority of people will tell you move your head, flip and weave, there's actually a lot easier ways to do it.
Such as?
Break his arms.
Say that again, sorry?
Break his arms. If you punch his arms senseless, what's he going to do?
Mm.
And he took the punches away from him. You got to think outside the box. People will think, move your head, do everything in a certain way. The textbook, one best things about being with Nas, he taught me not to be textbook.
Yeah, if anyone's going to teach you how to be textbook, it's definitely going to be Nas. He was very unconventional. That's a good.
You probably ever had a fighter tell you that before.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And the punching the arms thing, it comes back to Canelo with his Callum Smith fight. Yeah. Like, did you see the massive? I don't even know what that was. It looked like his bicep was on the side of his arm.
If you're a fighter with power and you're fighting a taller fighter, rather than wasting all the energy slipping, weaving, trying to get in, like Tyson would do. Yeah. But remember, Tyson was so powerful he could finish him. Mm-hmm. But if you're not as powerful but yet still powerful, chip away at the arm, chip away at the arm, chip away at the arm. Tyson was very fast as well. So even though they could jab, he was so fast he could slip and counter. Mm-hmm. But if the reach is bothering you and they're very fast, take it away from them. Slow them down. And make them fight your game.
Do you fight mainly people who are larger than you? I think you mentioned that before. That
I think because we've been fighting journeymen. Journeymen normally are like big and come down because they don't want to get stopped. If they get stopped, they can't fight again for like a month. So it's very rare you get journeymen come up in weight to fight. They're all, the majority of the time they always come down. So they're naturally harder to stop.
Right.
They're naturally fighting normal fighters. The normal fighters will drain down to their maximum and they will be slightly more exhausted.
Why can't they fight for a month?
Sometimes you get them come up as well.
Why can't they fight for a month if they get stopped?
If you're stopped, the British Border Control won't let you fight for a certain amount of days.
Oh, okay.
So ideally, they'll throw less punches and work on not getting stopped than actually trying to win. So if you that's why if you hurt them, mm-hmm. you know they're there to survive. So take advantage of the fact that they're there to survive. Unless you want to take them out. Some people like to take them out and get it done. I say if you've got a massive amateur pedigree, just take them out there because you don't need the experience. Mm-hmm. If you have it, I would rather keep them in there and get as much out of them as you can. It's just a good target practice. It's good ring practice. Good ring time.
And get the rounds in that obviously you didn't in the amateurs as well.
Yeah.
What?
If you haven't been in, I remember some of these fights have hundreds of rounds. If you haven't really had hundreds of rounds, imagine what that guy's learnt in them 100 rounds, and you've only done 10 rounds. Yeah, you banged 10 guys out in 10 rounds. You've only ever done 10 rounds in your whole boxing career. Mm-hmm. But this guy's done like 100 rounds. Think how much knowledge, how much situations, how much things have happened in them 100 rounds he's learned.
Yeah, I can't remember the fighter who said this, but it was a quote of like, every time I step into the ring, I basically learn that entire person's, like, I absorb all of their rounds and their experience, which is an amazing quote, to be fair. I obviously butchered the quote there, but the quote is a lot more eloquently put.
It's true. It's the longer you're in there, the more you're learning, but it's also the longer you're in there, the more dangerous it is. So you need to be in control the whole time you're in there.
And I presume the more comfortable you get in the ring as well, like if you're in a professional bout, like you probably get more comfortable with the crowd looking at you, the judges there, and like all that stuff.
That is one of the reasons as well, because you want to become immune to that when you're actually. So now when you're in a title fight, and you know you're going to be in you're going to be in a big arena. If you're not even used to the crowds and stuff watching you, and the atmosphere, because you've only had such a short time of seeing it, mm-hmm. when you're doing that 10-round fight, and say you do like go back to the corner and for a split second you look around and think, wow, where am I? I'm just like dazzled by everything going on.
Has it happened to you?
Yeah, that happened to me in my debut.
I was going to ask, like, because that would be, if any time was going to happen, it would be a debut because it's all fresh. How was like your energy management? Did you find that like you were a bit too nervous or excited beforehand, and then you had
I'll
an
be honest,
adrenaline dump?
before the fight, I was gonna just blast the guy out. I was so nervous, and I thought, yeah, I'm just gonna get him out of there quick, get it over and done with.
Mm-hmm.
And Nas coming along and says, "Listen, you've got this. This is gonna be so easy. Just go out there, just keep jabbing, snap his head back, make him look stupid because I want you to just show off your skill. Just take your time in there. This is gonna be easy." He made me think it was scripted. I was like, this guy's making it sound like it's gonna be too easy. And I mean, when I went into the ring, I was like, it can't be that easy. It's not gonna be that easy. And this guy just jumped on me like he wanted to kill me. And I was like, I look back at him. I remember this, the ref pulled him off, and I look back at Nas, and he goes, "Just knock him out now. Just try to knock him out." I give him the dirtiest look in the world. I was like, "You nearly got me knocked out, man." Then he knew I had a lot of power, and I hit the guy with the body shot. And from the second I hit the guy with the body shot, he didn't want to let go. And he just got points to the top. He was excessive holding the whole fight. And
the shot that you mentioned before was that Nas seemed to enjoy was the left hook. Would you say that is like your quote unquote signature shot?
Funny enough, yeah, that was the shot that hurt him.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing in my head, was a left hook to the body.
Exactly a left hook to the brain.
Yeah, when you said left hook, I was thinking that's what came into my mind. It seems to be a good shot though. The people who can master it.
Yeah, you should see the guy's feet lift off the canvas on the left foot. So yeah, it's a good shot.
It is interesting because that seems to be a very good shot for quite a lot of people. Like again, going back to Dillian Whyte, that's a shot that he's nailed on.
Well, a lot of the fighters I emulated, like Tyson,
yeah,
Canelo, even very similar Joe Frazier, and I did like Trinidad, and they're all guys with good left hooks.
Yeah. It is really interesting, to be fair. As I say, I'm just like a boxing fan, to be fair. So when I get the chance to speak to boxers like yourself, it's like it's a put a buzz for myself. What I like to do with the boxing guests that I've had on so far is, and I know you said that you don't really watch too many fighters, but there's a few divisions that I think that are very, very hot at the moment. And if we could just run through a few of them and see who you think is going to be at the top of the pile when all said is done. So I think we'll go from like lightest to heaviest.
Yeah.
And I think in the lightweight category, we've already mentioned Lomachenko before, but we've also got Teofimo Lopez, who obviously took his belt. We've got Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Gervonta Davis that you mentioned before as well. So out of them 4 or 5 fighters, who do you think is going to be number one?
Gervonta. I wipe out the whole division.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's. Have you, out of all them fighters, have you seen guys hit other fighters and then drop like sandbags? Because he does that.
Yeah, I haven't thus far, but yeah, fair enough. I won't argue. In sort of
I mean, they put him in. I mean, I'm a massive Gamboa fan. I really like Gamboa as like one of the fighters that I really enjoyed watching, especially with 50 Cent. He's friends with Billy, so I really enjoyed watching him. And I knew how good Gamboa was. Gervonta was the first one to step up and fight and beat him. I've already been out the ring and stepped up and everything. You're talking about a class fighter. When you got class fighters like that, it don't matter how long they're out the ring. Because I'm pretty sure guys like Andre Ward can be out the ring and come back and still be fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's that muscle memory, isn't it? It's you can be out the ring so long, but as soon as everything starts ticking the right way, then obviously you get all of it back. I think Devin Haney fought Gamboa recently as well, and I think he also knocked him.
I know he didn't stop him, though, did he?
Do you not? I think he was he close to stopping him, because I remember him being down. I remember Gamboa being down in the fight. I'm not sure if it was he finished it off, but I do remember Gamboa being down at some point in that fight. Unless I'm thinking of the completely wrong fight. I myself, I'm a bit of a Devin Haney fan, so I feel like, I feel like he.
One thing I like about him is that the relationship he's got with his father. He's got a lot of respect for his father, and I do really respect that. and he's a hard-working boy, man. To get to where he got at a young age, he's worked extremely hard.
Yeah, I think he's only like 22, 23, something like that. He's
22, 23 years old. He's already champion of the world. Like, he's done very well.
Exactly. A sort of close to your weight category, I guess, is welterweight. And I think there's only one fight to be made in that category. Really, it's Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Who do you think would win out of them two?
I'll be honest, all my friends are gonna give me stick for this, but the only reason I'm gonna say Spence is because Terence, skill-wise, I mean Terence is more skilled. But remember, he's from a lighter weight coming up, and you've seen what Errol did to Mikey, and Mikey's from a lighter weight coming up.
True. Yeah, I do understand that, but I feel like Terence is someone who, quote unquote, lives the life, and Errol seems like he is more flamboyant out of the ring, shall we say? So I don't know if something like that would come to play a part. And I'm not sure if he's had a fight since his car crash.
When you got guys that can really punch for their weight,
doesn't matter.
It only takes one punch, man.
Yeah, but didn't Terence like break Kell Brook's face as well? Like that, he's got power.
Yeah, but who took him out first?
Oh yeah, very true.
Took him out first, didn't he?
Yeah, true. Shit, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Middleweight, and I think
the guy that does it first is the guy you got to rate.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. It makes it easy for all the rest afterwards because you lose that confidence.
When Ricky Hatton, Floyd was the first one to beat him. Mm-hmm. Then Manny comes around, knocks him out quicker. But Floyd gave the blueprint that he could be beat.
Yeah, very true.
A guy is more dangerous when he knows he can't be beat. When a guy knows he can be beat, he doubts himself.
100%. Middleweight, this fight has already been announced, and it is in a couple of weeks. At the time of obviously recording, is Canelo Billy Joe Saunders. Obviously, we can chuck Triple G in the mix there as well, but I feel like Canelo's beat him 2 times now, although the first one, in my opinion, is a bit... but Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo, who do you think is going to win out of that one?
I would like Billy to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, while I was coming up in the circuit, Billy was coming up at the same time. He was always ahead of me, a bit older. But I would like him to win. But I'll be honest, Canelo's probably the best fighter in the world right now. If he does this, a big ask from him. Yeah,
I feel similarly. But Billy Joe looks in tremendous shape going into this fight, though.
Everybody says that about tremendous shape. What happened with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua? The body thing don't mean nothing. It means you train hard, but it's the skills that pay the bills, man. And Billy's great boxing skills, so that's why I'm not saying 100% Canelo. I mean, I think Canelo's favorite to win it, but I think if anyone's got what it takes to beat him, it's Billy.
I feel like the shape thing comes more into it with like weight categories that you actually have to cut. Obviously with heavyweight, it's just like as big as you want to be, really. But I feel like in previous fights where Billy's been perhaps less motivated, he hasn't looked as good.
I'll be honest, I honestly believe it's the better man on the night.
Yeah.
I've been inspiring world champions. I've seen world champions get beaten up in sparring by like guys who were like just coming up. So I honestly don't believe it's about someone so much better than someone else. It's just who's better on the night.
Yeah, no, I get you. Hopefully Billy can do it because it would be a sick thing. But as you say, Canelo is probably the best fighter in the world at the moment. And let's finish off.
I'll give him credit though to be an undefeated fighter and go after the best in the world. You've got to be brave, man. So yeah. He's a true fighter.
100%. The biggest is probably to the last, so it's heavyweights. And this fight seems to be signed, or maybe, or I don't know, it's all up in the air, is Joshua versus Fury. Who do you think is going to win? Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua?
Everyone's been asking me this. That is honestly the better man on the night. Because they're both really, really. I know a lot of people say Tyson's going to win easy. A lot of people say AJ's going to win easy. It's just going to be who turns up on the night because they're both just as good as each other.
If you had to put money on right now, okay, if me and you were to make a bet, who would you put money on? And don't worry, I ain't gonna be betting. Yeah, I ain't on no boxer. I ain't on no boxer's piece. Yeah, I ain't got money like that. But if we were theoretically going to bet, who would you put money on? I'm not accepting. No, they're both as good as each other. You must have a personal preference.
You can't do this to me. Because I got friends in the gym who are friends with AJ, and I got friends in the gym. They're gonna fall out of me on this.
No, you got to pick one. You just got to pick one.
I'm gonna say Tyson because I got a lot of travelers in my area, and I want my house in my burg with anything. The Gypsy King guys, come on, it's Tyson.
Oh, flipping hell. Okay, well, at least you've kept all the travelers happy. I would like Joshua to win. As I was saying before, I followed his career from his debut, so I think
I met I shooting some TV commercial thing, and I met Joshua, and yeah, he's a cool dude, man. I like him. Really, really nice guy.
Yeah, I think that's what I've heard from most like people who have interacted with him. Says that he is very, very nice. So
yeah.
I think it's easy, like because you do hear the flip side as well. Like a lot of some people do obviously say that it's all PR and he's too like family friendly.
We was off camera, obviously. He was just chatting. He was just a really cool dude, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I want him to win, and I feel like he will, just due to inactivity of Tyson, and I know that people when I've said that before, people go, "Oh, Tyson was out for 3 years and he came back and beat." Well, no, he didn't. He had 2 tune-up fights beforehand, that were in very quick succession. Sorry, before the Wilder fight, and Joshua beat Pulev a couple of months ago, and is going to be going in this.
One thing about Joshua is Joshua can really. I remember him showing me a punch on the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, he can really shook the whole gym, hit the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, right.
He's a fucking unit, like, innit?
You take a lick like that, man. I don't know if we get back up.
100%. No, this would be proper dope. But just before we finish, I do a quick fire question round. So I ask every guest the same 5 questions, and it's in like a quick fire fashion. So if we get started with these, the first one is, what are you most proud of?
Representing my people.
Smashed it. What are you most looking forward to?
Making my people proud.
What is your biggest motivation? I feel like I know the answer to this.
No, I'm not going to say the thing, but my biggest motivation is my father.
Okay. And your people.
Yeah, I'm
what is your definition of success?
Be loved by my people.
And last but not least, because it's the KultureKast podcast, how has your culture affected you in your journey this far?
It's kept me emotionally strong.
Emotionally strong?
Yeah.
How so?
Just to see the people, the way they support me, the way they took to me, and it's just made me really proud of who I am.
Smashed it. That's amazing. I really enjoyed this conversation, and it's been a pleasure. Obviously, big up to Gaz as well for sort of putting that word in and linking work together. Is there any last
blue corner boxing, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, blue corner boxing.
Guys. Shout out, guys, follow blue corner boxing as well. You got to follow that.
Yeah, 100%. He's a sick guy. I just recorded a podcast with him a few days ago, and he mentioned yourself. So I thought I'd reach out.
Awesome.
And
I got the Kronk gear on as well.
I know, I've seen.
The Kronk boxing, or Kronk athlete, so they keep me kitted out with all my gear. So big shout out to them and thank you. and the Atlas Group always supported me, sponsored me. Obviously, all the Asian networks that follow me, and KultureKast as well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, big shout out for the champ. Yeah, no, smashed it. I think is it mainly Instagram that you're active on?
Yeah, I'm Tony Bange on Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I'll be honest, I'm so lazy on Twitter, I don't follow it. And I've got a fan page, Tony Bange on Facebook.
Sweet. All of them things will be linked in the description below. Whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening, all them links will be in the description. Go follow Tony, and yeah, thank you for tuning in.